What is up, Mako Madness fans? This is Dan, and we are checking into SeaWorld Orlando today for an epic hard hat tour of Mako. So let's head inside and check out all the action. Something I wanted to point out real quick before we get into the park is you now are required to go through metal detectors. Before, it was kind of a random selection, but now it is a requirement to get into the park to go through these metal detectors. Alright, so as soon as we enter the park, we see some new banners up here displaying for Mako, and of course the season pass or annual pass that they offer. But glad to see some new signage. There's obviously a lot of new things in the last 2 weeks that have happened since I have been off in the Midwest. But we have some new signage right over here near the pathway that goes around that big theater where Bands, Brews, and Barbecue is. But we have this Mako sign that says tallest, fastest, longest coaster, and of course it's pushing the annual pass, so you can actually get one of the first rides on Mako, but neat little sign. And here we can see the big shipwreck. And it looks like the rock work is actually done right there. So theming coming along very nicely.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Hi. My name is Brian Morrow. I'm the Vice President of Theme Park Experience Design here at SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment. And I want to welcome you to the first ever Behind the Construction Wall tour of our newest attraction, Mako. When Mako opens, it will be the tallest, longest, and fastest coaster in Orlando, and it's debuting June 10th here at SeaWorld Orlando. Now at SeaWorld Parks, we create experiences that matter, and Mako, it's no different. It's an exact, perfect example of this. It begins at the heart of our brand new realm, which is right here at Shark Wreck Reef. Here in this realm, we have experiences for guests that want to ride and for guests that don't want to ride. And all of them will have a chance to experience the way that we blend entertainment and education together to learn all about sharks. Now in this realm, we have brand new educational experiences right on the pathway where guests will learn about sharks, their plights in the wild, and how they can make a difference right here at the park and when they go home. They can come face to face with real sharks in the Shark Encounter, dine at Shark's Underwater Grill, and we've built brand new retail experiences here at Shark Wreck Reef. They include brand new Guy Harvey, one-of-a-kind art and merchandise, which can be found only here at the Mako attraction, and also a chance to track Mako sharks live in the wild with the Guy Harvey Institute. And of course, the most important part of the realm, it's Mako. Now Mako will let our guests experience the power and the strength of this apex predator with relentless airtime. Now at SeaWorld, real can definitely be amazing, but seeing is definitely believing. So ladies and gentlemen, point your cameras 200 feet in the air. You're about to meet Mako. Opening June 10th, Orlando's tallest, longest, and fastest coaster. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mako. So you each have a colored lanyard. You're going to find your tour guide and you're going to go on an adventure inside of our queue and station and learn about sharks as well and back of house and meet the coaster face to face. So please find your tour guides and we'll see you in a minute.
Check this out, guys. In the 2 weeks that I've been gone, they've done a lot of theming over here near Shark's Underwater Grill.
So, as many of you know, over the last 50 years, SeaWorld has rescued and rehabilitated over 27,000 animals, many of them being marine animals that have been affected by ocean pollution and plastic. And a lot of times we don't make that connection that the plastic bag we see blowing on the sidewalk or the plastic straw that we tossed on the ground can impact marine life. It's actually estimated that 80% of the ocean debris comes from land sources. So to illustrate the impact that plastic pollution can have on the oceans, SeaWorld has commissioned the Wash to Shore project to create this beautiful, unique sculpture of a Mako shark that is made completely out of hard, non-biodegradable plastic that was found on the coastlines of Oregon. And as you can see, there's a lot of common household items that we see every day, like plastic bottles and even toothbrushes that were found almost getting into the way of ocean health. So what's one thing that we can do very simple to help protect the oceans? Recycle plastic, obviously, and if you're ever on the beach and you see a plastic bag blowing by, don't ignore it, because that plastic bag can end up in a sea turtle's stomach, or the plastic straw that we use can end up blocking a sea turtle's nostril, which is actually real things that have happened from the animals that SeaWorld has rescued. So our hopes are that when guests come to the Mako realm, they'll meet Finn, our sculpture, see the impact that we have on ocean health, and they'll learn a little bit about the plight of sharks and other marine animals and everyday things that we can do to help protect these animals. Any questions about Finn? And if you have any questions about sharks themselves, we have Jim Kinsler behind me, and he can talk to you all about the sharks that we have here at SeaWorld.
I actually have a question
Sure.
about Finn.
Sure.
About how many man-hours did it take to actually create this sculpture?
A whole team worked together to create this sculpture, and it took them about 4 months to make.
Wow.
And again, this was all plastic that volunteers doing beach cleanups found just on the coastlines of Oregon. So again, when you're at the beach and you see something that's not even yours, it really does help protect the marine life to pick it up and toss it in the recycling bin.
Now, is Finn going to be a permanent display here, or what can we expect to see with Finn?
Finn will be here at the Mako sculpture for a very long time, but he also travels. He has his frequent flyer miles. Finn has made rounds to New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. already, and has plans to go to other events and schools around Florida.
When he lives here, where will he
He will
live?
be somewhere in the Mako realm, so while guests are walking through the realm, learning about the plight of sharks, they will be able to see Finn up close and look at all the different plastic objects. And we have this can you spot sign here, so
Oh,
you can
nice.
see what different types of plastic items you can spot here in the sculpture.
Okay, so tell us about sharks and its involvement with Mako, the ride itself.
Well, it's really important. We're bringing in Mako, which is a fantastic new hypercoaster, which is going to give our guests a really unique opportunity for an exciting ride that also ties into a very important message. And that message is shark conservation. When our guests come here to the new shark realm at SeaWorld, they're going to be able to learn about the plight of the sharks. We lose over 100 million sharks every year due to finning and bycatch and other means, and losing those sharks in the wild is critically important to the balance of our oceans. So not only can our guests come in, ride the new Mako roller coaster, they can learn about sharks, they can walk through, see a fantastic exhibit with the sharks we have here at SeaWorld. They can also take the opportunity to go in our restaurant and have lunch right next to the very same sharks. So it's a really unique opportunity for our guests to immerse themselves in the new shark realm and learn the critical importance of shark and shark conservation.
Now, we know you have a lot of species here. How many species would you say you actually have?
We have roughly 15 different species of sharks, and they range from the large sand tiger, which is in our main shark encounter, to the white-spotted bamboo shark, which is one of the smaller species that just kind of lives on the bottom of our exhibits.
Do you have a personal favorite shark yourself?
To be honest with you, I like them all because they're all significant in their own special way, but certainly I really enjoy the larger sharks.
Now, if there's one thing us as humans can do to really help try to save the sharks, what is something you think we can do as far as that?
Well, one of the keys is awareness, to really understand the importance of shark conservation. One of the things that we can do, which is very important, it's something we do here at SeaWorld, in fact, is we receive our seafood from sustainable sources. And these are sources that do not impact the ocean environment. We don't have bycatch issues with the sharks or anything like that. And to be an advocate against, shark finning, which is a very, very serious impact on the shark numbers out in the ocean. We lose somewhere around 70 million sharks a year to shark finning alone. And it's really unfortunate because these animals may not be around forever if we don't step in and make some changes.
Jim, we thank you for your time, and it's been excellent. And thank you for all the information.
Thank you.
The next one comes from Miguel. He actually has two questions. What is the lifespan of a Mako? How big can they get? And can you see a Mako in Florida waters?
It is possible to see a Mako in Florida waters. Mako get to be on average about 10 feet long for males. Females a little bit larger. What was the other part of the question?
I believe it was how big can they get and the lifespan.
Lifespan, it's hard to say. In fact, we have a partnership with Guy Harvey where we are helping to learn more about the Mako. And that would be one of the items that we'd be very interested in finding out, because it's very subjective between species, but most sharks can live several decades. In fact, we have sharks here at SeaWorld that have been around for over 30 years.
Here's the entry sign. As we can see, right entry and wait time. Another shipwreck. Looks really awesome though. Queue line is just about done. They're putting up some fencing, and most of the concrete has actually been poured. So it won't be too much longer, guys, before that's all done. Got some neat concept art that's actually going on the TV right here. This is stuff I've never seen before. Here's a much closer look at that rock formation. I actually don't know if it's 100% done just yet. It looks really awesome. Good texture to it as well. Literally reminds me just like I was on the beach. It's really kind of neat. Here we can see what looks to be the ride exit, where it's going to be gift shop, ride photos. Again, theming continues even inside. And it looks like you're in the belly of a ship. It's really starting to come along nice. They do have what looks to be another fence right here. And then probably ride photos and merch is going to be over there as well. But we can see the pathway just down this way where that guy is walking. And that is the exit pathway.
Okay, no.
All right, so we're going to go through, this is our previs model of the attraction, which is actually 22 minutes long. We're going to show you 1 minute of it, which will sort of explain the land, the realm, and the story of what the guest point of view is going to be on the attraction. And then we can do some questions here, and then we'll go inside the actual queue, and the next stop point will be on top of the station. We'll see the train and the station experience as well. So let's hit play, Matt. So what you're seeing is part of the process of development. So we previs everything in order to understand the views and the experience that the guests will have. So we go from renderings to digital models. So this digital model allows us to walk all through the attraction, actually live with VR goggles on, and experience and look around. The first thing you'll notice are our educational elements right up front. There's 3 of these big zones of interpretive education, which are all active experiences for the non-rider guests to learn about sharks, the various species of sharks in the wild, the issues they face, and the big talking point is over 100 million sharks a year are killed for the sole purpose of making an appetizer called shark fin soup. And that's a big topic for us, and we want guests to make sure they know, don't participate in that, it's bad for sharks. And moving on, the guests are going to learn about how sharks are designed and the unique attributes that they have. They have over 7 senses, 2 of which we don't possess, the ability to sense current and pressure and electricity. And moving into the ride itself, this is about where you're standing now. Guests will take the point of view of the shark. The whole attraction, you are the shark, searching for your prey slowly through the queue line underneath the dock where prey fish can be found. Moving further in, we discover this giant ship liner has crashed into the dock, and we start to explore this element as well. Inside this space, we'll receive a live transmission underwater from the Guy Harvey Institute. We'll see real footage of Mako sharks that we shot 2 weeks ago out in the ocean with the Guy Harvey team and our Sea Rescue television show. And then we'll head upstairs to the top of the shipwreck, where above us, the shipwreck will sort of be broken apart, and you'll see the water above. And we'll go next to the station to talk about that experience as well, which is very unique. Done. I am obsessed with doing stuff we're not supposed to do and pushing ride vendors to the extreme with like column locations. What you see at Tampa will be very unusual with the column placement. Cheetah Hunt, we did it. Here we did it again. So I didn't want all these rides steal in the view, so we're actually using them to hold up our scenic. So all the gray is what's going to receive texture and scenic paint, and corals made of metal and glass, which are spectacular, and they have fish and sharks all around them. The tabs actually hold up giant structural canopy pieces that represent the water structure. So before you leave, if you go towards the front of Shark Encounter, those canopies are already installed, and these are the biggest ones that span about 40 feet all through the space to create the shade and the water canopy of the ocean. So these are really great. These have lighting and sound, and also a really unique trick, and you heard a little bit of it today, but when the coaster comes out over the out of the block break, around this Shark Plaza, we actually trigger show control. So we'll have 3 different audio tracks that will play, that will duck down the BGM, the Mako coaster score will rise up, and it will match the mimic of the train as it goes around, skims the lake and back to the station. And there's big subwoofers hidden in everything, and there's strobes and lighting effects as well that will trigger as if the fish are scattering as it crashes through this really cool shipwreck structure over here.
Now, we saw in the Mako Rising show, there was a water splashdown feature. Is that going to happen with Mako?
That is not happening because of our lake water. So this water is non-filtered. It is a retention system, so we were unable to manage that process and deliver it. But you will be skimming down on your side, get as close as possible. Another great talking point is that 92% of this ride is actually over water. Over here in our SeaWorld lake or the large ponds in the back of house area. So the whole ride, which by the way, our team rode last night and this morning, and they couldn't stop talking about it. I did not get to go because I wasn't here, but they said it's fantastic, and the whole ride over the water is quite horrifying in the back of house area, the ponds in the back of the park. Really cool.
So you guys want to head back up to...
Yeah. And of course, here we are, walking through the queue line.
This is going to be a whole dock.
So it looks like they're just about ready to pour a lot more concrete. Got something covering what looks to be footers or something in here. And here we are. We're getting our first views. Oh, doesn't that look awesome? And ta-da! Station. different rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going back row.
Okay, so the final scene of the Mako attraction, guests will actually rise up to the shipwreck and get to the very top. So you're looking at a station that's about 40 to 50% complete in scenic, and about 10% complete in show. The unique thing about Mako, we really want to take advantage of the moment at Manta that everybody loves, when the seats rise up and there's that great sound and everybody cheers and claps. We took that and we've kind of quadrupled the experience here at Mako. So this is a very smart station. It's a show-driven station that will react to the movements of the ride and the dispatch and the ride operators themselves. It will actually run through various show sequences when we get the dispatch clear from our operations team. What guests will see, hanging below this blue ceiling, which is the backdrop, are scenic elements that represent the ocean, the prey fish, and some sharks swimming overhead. Through that scenic, you'll see the content on a large LCD screen that just came in from Pom Pom on Saturday. And it's behind this milky substrate because it's meant to look like you're looking at the surface of the ocean and you see the shadows of these animals swimming above you. You'll see sharks and various prey fish swimming above. When we get the dispatch button, those sharks will trigger a show sequence above that will actually have the Mako shark strike its prey fish in front of you here about part 3. And then the fish will scatter, and the Mako will start swimming forward in the direction of travel of the train. Again, speaking to the guests about, you're the Mako shark, this is Mako point of view. Sharks eat fish, they don't eat humans, let's go on a ride. It's a pretty simple story to understand, and it's the one that guests really expect from us when it comes to coasters and animals within all of our parks. You're also listening to there's about 38 minutes of original music in about 7 different zones throughout the attraction, including the original pieces that we talked about in the Shark Plaza that will trigger when the train comes through the plaza. And also there's 3 unique pieces as you go up the lift that will exactly synchronize and match up with the descent, the lift and the descent over the hill. All scored by the same composers located here in Orlando. A really talented gentleman that we found that does a lot of our music for us. All right? Some questions? Fire off.
Yeah, will the score be released on iTunes?
Yeah, all the music in our attractions, since Turtle Trek, is original. So we'll post it on iTunes. You know what? I'll find out how soon we're going to do that. We can do it now. It's all mixed and balanced, so we can do it now that you guys start listening to it.
Will the show elements slow down the road process at all?
So show is always what's called a subordinate to the ride control system. So ride and drive it, the show just reacts to it. So we won't wait for show, and the show is actually meant to work for the entire train length. The worst thing you do is like things that work really good for cars 1 and 2, and car 7 gets nothing. So we actually created our show and musical score to make sure that everybody got to hear it and see it leaving the station, and everybody got to hear it going over the top of the lift. Anyone else? Come on, you guys gotta have questions.
About the train, how many rows will there be modified?
Yeah, so there'll be 7 rows total on the Mako coaster. And I got 2 big questions. Why is it only 200 feet? Why only 7 rows? This ride was specifically designed to ensure and guarantee airtime. The worst thing to do is build a hypercoaster and have a whole bunch of speed that you're just burning off at the end of the thing. That's not what we're known for. We're known for designing optimum, premium, world-class center lines on our coasters. And this guy was just the same. So Apollo's Chariot, it's not 200 feet, it's like 170, 178, and it's a world-class coaster, still ranks in the top 10 often. We think Mako at 200 feet gives us a little bit more longer ride, a little bit more speed, will be even better than Apollo's. The 7 vehicle train allows us to lose that last car, which was really going to hang us up, leaving some hills and some airtime, and let the train really fly over all the elements to give the best possible ride experience.
The current speed that we see the ride testing, can we expect that same speed, or maybe an increase or decrease, or are we just about where we need to be?
It feels a little slow this morning watching it because they just cycled like 6 trains this morning before you guys saw it. It will hit 73 miles per hour. We do have a trim. It's hitting a little fast on the back path after the hammerhead turn. So there's a trim brake that we are using right now to slow it down. But that'll all be balanced out once we get real people, real weight on the train, etc. I'm so happy. But it's great now. So thanks for coming today. Yeah,
So we have sound system pieces here. There's a lot of stuff they still got to add, guys. So we're getting an awesome view now of the lift motor here. We're super close. And then we have the big old lift hill right there. Remember, you're going to get very close to cracking. That close. And that is why you wear hard hats. Yeehaw!
That's right.
Hey everybody, welcome to SeaWorld, and feast your eyes upon Mako right here behind me. And you won't really get this close to the ride, so it's kind of special that we're back here. We get to really appreciate the ride. You really get a sense of the height and the length of this ride, which we've talked about a lot, right? Mako will be the tallest, fastest, and longest coaster in Orlando when it opens on June 10th, right here at SeaWorld, as part of our entirely new Shark Wreck Reef realm. Try saying that. So here we are. This is the base of the first drop on Mako. So right up here to your left, this is the tallest point, 200 feet tall, the tallest roller coaster in Orlando, and it happens right there at the top of that lift. As you crest the hill, and you keep waiting for the track to stop bending underneath the train as you're face down, and you get this really exhilarating moment of free fall down the drop. You hit your maximum speed right here behind me, 73 miles an hour. So this makes it the fastest coaster in Orlando right here. And then it goes through all these really beautiful elements that are behind me here. And this is almost a mile of track, almost a mile of track, and it makes it the longest coaster in Orlando. So we have a lot to talk about, and those aren't the only things that make this ride unique. So I'm happy to talk about the ride if there's any questions, and if not, I can just keep going. It's easy to talk about this one. So does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
What's the G-force profile?
Oh, it's exciting, the G-force profile. Extremely exciting. Yes, sir.
What kind of lighting package can we expect with this ride?
Okay, so there is show lighting when the train enters the plaza. So where we were standing for the opening announcement, there's a moment when the train comes through, and there's a sort of a moment that happens. You can hear it. Not just the ride, but there's a score that plays as the train comes through, and there's flashes that kind of create this sense of energy and excitement, like the waves breaking as the train rolls through the plaza area.
Got it. Any kind of lighting outside out here in the out?
There's not lighting on the ride, on the coaster.
But anything not projected onto it?
No.
Do you have an estimated speed of what the speed check will be at the mid speed check there?
B&M does. There is a little bit of a trim there, and it hits it just a little bit. So they how B&M is. They like to keep that speed very precisely and finely tuned because they're great Swiss engineers, and so that is why that's there. Yeah.
What's the attraction photography going to be?
The
On-ride photo?
You know, that's a good question because I don't know that. We'll find that out. We'll get somebody who can answer that. I haven't seen the camera go in yet, and they typically look for great moments when they can capture a great facial expression of some kind. So it'll I mean, if it were me, there's some great moments right here on this first drop. Yeah, and it could be also over there. You have a question?
Yeah. Now, I've noticed with the track color and everything else like that, it almost looks like it changes colors at some time based on the lighting. Have you guys done any sort of special paint for that, or is it just that kind of?
It has, when the light hits this purpley color, or if it's in the shade, it looks like it is a different color. So even if you look at the coaster in the distance and you look at the track versus the track up close, it looks a little darker when it's up close, and it looks a little lighter, almost like a little reflective when it's away from you. So it is a really fascinating property of the paint color. Yeah. And the other thing I want to talk about is the trains on this ride, which we looked at last time. We did our big reveal of the train, and we talked all about the train. But I'm going to talk about the train more because the train's fantastic, and the train looks really great. If you've been in the, I don't know if you've been in the station yet, you get some great views of the entire train now, and you see the carriages on the ride and the bucket seats, and then we have this really great lap guard restraint, which really opens up your entire upper body to give you a lot more freedom, which really it's really beneficial on a ride like Mako, which delivers airtime, so you don't feel confined in a shoulder harness that wraps around your shoulders like you would on Kraken. You know, Mako doesn't have inversions, and it's all about airtime. So the restraint is a lower body lap guard restraint. So it's really special, and it actually improves the ride experience. So the ride experience is fantastic by itself, but the type of restraint is really key to kind of taking it way over the top.
Have you ever heard of Red Rocket Universal? I've never heard of Red Rocket sound.
Hey Rob, what's the name of the coaster?
The name of the coaster is Shark Super Fun.
Again, they're very busy on the construction site and getting everything ready. Queue line is just about there, guys. And this is where you're going to enter for the ride photos and gift shop again. They have a lot of the displays ready just for merchandise. Register systems, everything else like that. That slow lift hill. It actually looks a lot slower. I think they slowed it down. Or they're doing block checks. So real quick, since we've already been over this area for the tour that we had, I just wanted to cover a couple different things. They do have some more theming elements that have been placed in the last couple weeks. As we see this kind of wave structure right here, extends along right here, but this is new for us since our last updates. But of course we have those lighting structures over here that eventually get the lights. Looks nice though. Here at the Panini Bistro, they've added some new structures over here with lights. These are new, right here. And I would expect something to go across because there are mounting brackets, so maybe a new sign for Panini Bistro or a rename or something. We do have some paint that's gone on the outside of the building with the different fish and sharks on it. Looks kind of nice. Again, more of those lights and the side of the building, all painted. A couple areas here, right in the front entrance area, have actually been dug up and repaved. So this is all new concrete right here. I don't know if the cobblestone is going to be staying or not. Kind of doubt it if they're already seeing some of this new concrete right here. There's another patch. But a whole lot of newness. So we are over here by the Flamingo boat docks, and I hate to say it, guys, flamingo boats are not going to be going on for some time. We actually have some stuff going on. Some crew members are out there right now. Looks like they're actually tearing up a part of the dock. But then we see this, restricted pyro personnel only. So it actually looks like they're getting ready to set up the fireworks for the summer season. And here we can get our best look at the new fence line right there. And as we are told during the tour, there will not be a splashdown area. So what you see is what you get, guys. It's not a bad thing. But I'm glad they did sprucing up the entire area. It looks much better than it originally did. Yes, our usual view from across the pond. Looks great. But this time we're going to focus, of course, on those nettings down at the bottom of the track right there. So that is the final product. Painted, netted, done. So we are pretty much that much closer to opening. There are those pyro guys right there on the dock. And then check this out. Over inside the lake area, we have some platforms ready for the barge. It's going to be for the fireworks. So not too much longer, guys. We'll have an awesome show. Yay! Sky Tower's open!
Look for our signature run.
Alrighty guys, so we're up 300 feet in the air, getting our view of the entire Mako construction site. Other than when we went out there, everything else looks really, really good. From the air, ride layout looks very impressive. And we can see right over here, the trains. There's two of them right there, and they have the queue area. And that's an aerial view right there of the queue as well. I also wanted to showcase over here by Shark's Underwater Grill, from the air, right there, some of the work that's going on. And by the Flamingo boat dock, looks like they're just about finishing up.
3 miles per hour along 4,700.
Well guys, that is going to do it for another SeaWorld Orlando Mako construction update, and it was an epic one as we did a hard hat tour courtesy of SeaWorld. We saw all sorts of neat stuff inside the station, in the queue line, all over the place, and it was really kind of neat. So really say thank you to SeaWorld again. And of course we're going to sign off with our Manta doing its flyby. And of course we're going to have more hard hat tours and construction updates from rides around the world. So if you like what we do, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook and our YouTube page at Mako Madness, and I will see you out on the Midway.